you know, gosh, I'm clean slate, you know, and I just tell you what happened after Ed Snowden revealed all his secrets, and people found out that, you know, everything is being monitored. They asked the Stasi Lieutenant Colonel, who had come over after Germany reunified. His name is Wolfgang Schmidt, right? And they said, how do you answer people who say you have nothing to hear? How many have seen that wonderful film that was an Academy Award winner, Das Leben der Anderen, the lives of others? The Stasi monarch.
Yeah.
So he's one of those guys, right? So they say, hey, what do you say, Wolfgang? And he says, these people are incredibly naive. You don't get to decide how they use this information they collected to use against you. Okay. The only way to prevent them from using it against you is to prevent them from collecting it in the first place. And that's it, you know? And Americans, they can't get it through their head. You know? In other words, they have a file on all of us. McGovern, they just push a couple buttons, and they got it all stored. Maybe you haven't listened to it yet, but they'll listen to it then. So I just want to encourage you to face into this situation so that you don't end up like Albert Haushofer, regretting that you didn't do everything you could possibly do. I know I don't have to say that to this particular audience, but I'm really saying it to myself too. And the last thing I'll say is this. I've learned as I go around the country mostly, but around the world as well, that there's this noxious trait where respectable people, especially like us, don't want to embark on anything significant unless there's a very reasonable prospect of success, right? I mean, who wants to be laughed at? Who wants to be said, McGovern, what do you think you were doing there standing up before the secretary? Did you like a beat? Nobody likes that. Okay, so we'll talk now, okay? So what I'm trying to say is that it's not about success. It's about being faithful. And my patron, Dan Berrigan, S.J., Vietnam War protester, first time he was in jail, he reflected on whether what he did was worthwhile, because people would laugh at him. And he said, I came to the realization that the good is worth doing because it's good. Results, not unimportant, but secondary. The good of the act speaks for itself. Keep doing good acts, you guys. I'm proud to know you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Ray. And just that everybody's aware here how the Israel influence, as a Palestinian I'm talking now, how Israel influenced, or the Zionist lobby, how influenced America, and how the American influenced us here in Ireland. And one of the things that shows this influence is they closed the bank account for Ireland for a Solidarity campaign recently, and we believe that's because of the American influence that happened, pressured the Bank of Ireland to close our account here because they want to silence everybody who speaks the truth or who speaks for the Palestinians in this country. Thank you very much for your talk, and I have just a couple of announcements before we do the questions and answers. We have a AGM public meeting that's on the Irish Anti-War Movement public meeting on the Saturday, the 26th of November at the Teachers Club at 1:30. And we have a public meeting after that. The talk is War and Refugee Crisis, starting at 3:30. Teachers Club again. And then another event is United Against Racism Indirect Provision protest on Saturday, the 12th of November, 1:30 at the Spire, O'Connell Street. So please join us. So we'll open the floor now for questions. Sorry? Oh, that's right. Yeah, we have a peace march as well on the 19th of November in support of Syria, to stop the bombing of Syria. It's going to be at 2 o'clock,
Russian.
starting the Russian embassy and marching to the American embassy. So please.
Saturday, is it?
Saturday
Yes.
19th. Yes. Thank you. Does Kieran have an announcement?
Just very quickly, I'm the treasurer of the Irish Anti-War Movement, and we need to try and cover the costs of the room, so I'm just going to pass around a little cup and people can put some small amount of money into it. We're not like Trump or Clinton, we don't get major donations, so any small amount of money at all will be fine. Thanks very much.
Okay, so we'll open the floor for questions. Anybody wants to? And then you.
Tom Creddy, and just when you're here, it was great. I agree with you saying this. Would you agree also that like the CIA, American intelligence, British intelligence, have developed and amassed a great propaganda machine, and have infiltrated left-wing movements, have infiltrated the media, have infiltrated the UN, NGOs in order to propagate what they're doing. They label jihadist terrorists in Eastern Aleppo as moderates or rebels. You know, they label, when they label a government they don't like Assad government as a regime, well, everyone picks up, everyone calls it must be a regime because America's saying it, like, you know. And when they label, like, Russia and China, well, they're the demons. So people are thinking, well, maybe the US aren't that bad after all, because if it wasn't for that, these two other demons, who, as far as I'm concerned, were always, like, since the collapse of the Soviet Union, were more into economic kind of imperialism rather than war. And all of a sudden, the US, who have been bombarding, funding so-called rebel groups from Latin America to Asia to Afghanistan, like, all of a sudden, they may be not as bad, because the other threats, the demons, the Russians and the Chinese, are just as bad. So, there was a few TDs in the Dáil raised the issue of US imperialism, the number one superpower that exporting and destroying the planet with our weapons and interfering in governments all around the world. And when these TDs got up and said, mentioned what they're doing, Fianna Fáil got up and said, oh, you are pro-Russian. Oh no, we're not, we don't like them either, like, you know. So how do we stop that? How do we fight that propaganda? That the main number one, and I'm kind of concerned about this marching from the Russian embassy, the anti-war movement, to the US embassy, and they had a march out in the Dáil for Russia. Like, they're equating Russia, and Russia, who wants to support and not allow the Assad government to go under a jihad terrorist group and all that there. And I don't like Russia. They're a capitalist system, and they're into economic. But like, the main enemy, and I think we're being divided here. The main enemy is U.S. imperialism, not other countries, not what people label as dictatorships. Gaddafi was a dictatorship, or Libya was a dictatorship. I'm just concerned how they got into this propaganda mode.
Do you want to answer a
Yes,
question, or do you want to
I agree.
take a question for?
No, all kidding aside, yeah, I'll take one at a time.
Well,
Yeah. I don't want to embarrass or, insult anybody who might be here from the U.S. Embassy or from the CIA or the FBI or anybody like that. But, you're right. It is imperialism. I mean, hello, that's what it is. Now, the sad thing from the rulers that be point of view is that it ain't going to last. It's on the decline. The Russians and the Chinese are getting together here. The Russians have stopped. They've stopped us in Syria. They've stopped us in Ukraine. And until they did that, then they couldn't stop us. Witness what happened in Iraq, Libya. So the good news, if you can look at it that way, is that this unilateral one imperial country in the world, well, there is still one, but it's on downgrade, and inevitably the U.S. is going to have to come to grips with its new